Okay, let's jump straight into it. So, in the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to actually walk you through how to become almost famous overnight in your market area. And it doesn't matter if you're brand new, doesn't matter if you've been in the industry for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. If you truly want to take your leads, whether it's a buyer or a seller, from them not deciding, them still thinking about it, them still figuring out who they want to work with, you want to follow this video because it's really going to give you an idea in terms of step by step what exactly you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through three essential things. Actually, it's about two, but I would say that the core aspect over this is that it's not about the platform that you're essentially utilizing, and it's not just only about the end result. Ultimately, for you guys, it's all about, all right, what is the process that I can follow on a day-to-day basis that I know that if I just follow this process, overnight fame or success or being well known or getting leads and clients consistently is going to be the end result. So, for example, if you constantly go to the gym and if you eat good food and you hydrating yourself, the byproduct is a good body no matter what. Okay. So I actually want to walk you guys through in terms of what exactly do you need to do in order for you to get that overnight fame, for you to be the top agent in your area in less than 6 months as a byproduct. So first things first, and what we're essentially going to be focusing on here is utilizing social media platforms. Why? Because if you haven't done your research already, we spend the most hours on the internet every single day. We are number one internet addicts in the world. Go and do your research. It's there. Okay, South Africa spends the most time on the internet. So if you have certain beliefs that your market isn't online, trust me, they are online. And the top platforms that they're on is on Meta. So this is mainly Facebook and Instagram. And of course, Meta owns WhatsApp, but I want to put WhatsApp separately. Then we've got YouTube, I would say right now is about number two, and then TikTok, which is hovering between number three or number four. Okay, so the reason why we want to utilize these platforms is because we want to be where our market is at. All right, if I am selling hot dogs, do I want to sell hot dogs, for example, in my own home with my family, or do I want to sell hot dogs in a stadium packed full of hungry spectators? Okay, where am I most ultimately going to make the most sales? In a stadium where there's hungry spectators. So this is the reason why we want to utilize these platforms here, because your market is spending time on their phones. And you know this. You go to the mall, you go anywhere. People are looking down at their screens. What are they on? They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on WhatsApp, they're on TikTok, they're on YouTube, but they're spending time on their phones. So the best way for you to really get their attention is to be on these platforms. If you're afraid of being on these platforms, if you're not sure how to be on these platforms, there's multiple ways to go about it, but it is time to get with the times. It's time to utilize technology in order for you to then get the results. Now, that is step number one. Now, the next step that I want to quickly highlight is that you want to make sure that you have your own page on either of these platforms. So on Meta, you would need a business page. On Instagram, you'd also need a business page. TikTok, you would just need your own page. WhatsApp, you've got your own business account, which is very important. And then if you want to tap into YouTube, just create your own YouTube channel. Now, why is this important? You want to view this as your very own CV. Okay, this is like your very own store. When you walk into a mall, it's not just people, it's not just individuals or store owners who don't even have their own storefront, right? It's not like they're all just all over the place trying to sell you something. When you walk into a mall, it's structured. You have every single store that has its own storefront, right? It's got the branding, it's got the look and feel. As soon as you walk into, for example, Pick n Pay, it's completely different compared to when you walk into a Checkers, right? Pick n Pay has got its own branding, its own structure, and Checkers has got its own branding, its own structure. And again, according to preference, people will walk into each one depending on their preference at the end of the day. So that is the reason why you want to have your own page, because it's ultimately going to showcase who you are and your own preference and your own style, and you having your own ownership and control of the content that you are creating. This is very important. Now, why am I saying this? Because many of you guys I've noticed will post on, let's say, a marketplace or Facebook groups. That doesn't do anything, because that's like you advertising your service to hope to people at Pep or to people at Checkers or to people at Pick n Pay. They're not there for you. Okay, they're not there for you. They're there at Pick n Pay to go and purchase groceries and items. Okay, they had the intention of going to Pick and Pay, but you trying to sell them in Pick and Pay is not going to work. Hence why doing marketplace and all these different places, in a sense where it's not ultimately then getting them into your own store, is not going to work. So I need to highlight that to really emphasize why those things don't work. Okay, hope that makes sense. So now that you've created your page, or you've got your page, right, and you're now on these platforms, what next? Now, the key element here is that you want to create value-based videos. Now, what are value-based videos? These are videos that are ultimately going to turn any stranger who's in your area, okay, either into a well-informed lead, okay, whether they're looking to buy or sell, but now they're well informed, so that by the time they're ready to make a decision, they're ultimately going to work with you because you taught them something. Or it's going to then take a lead who's confused, someone who hasn't decided yet, someone who's still not really getting the information that they need right now to then help them make an informed decision in order for them to then work with you. Remember, guys, when you wanted to buy a car, when you wanted to buy a house, when you wanted to buy something where, for example, you just didn't have the right sufficient information, where did you go? 9 times out of 10, you probably went on to Google. 9 times out of 10, you probably reached out to people. 9 times out of 10, you probably went to an expert. When you're sick and you can't figure out exactly what's wrong with you, where do you go? You go to a doctor's office, right? Where do you go? You go to a doctor's office. You go to their storefront. You go inside, and then what do? You go and consult with them, okay? Because you cannot figure out the problem. Therefore, you go to a professional to go and help you. Now, ultimately, what's powerful about these value videos is that now you are giving all this information, especially for those people who at the moment are conflicted, they're confused, they don't know what to do. You are now giving them everything that they need, guess what? On your page. So that by the time they see your videos, they see the content, they see everything that you're providing on your page, you are now answering all their deepest, darkest questions that has been causing them a lot of pain, a lot of anguish, trying to figure out, how do I sell my house? Why is my house not selling? Why am I always getting rejected for a home loan? Why are agents so stingy? Why are agents so stingy? Why do agents exist, for example, right? When you provide all these value-based videos, what are you doing? You are now taking them from I haven't decided yet to now deciding to want to work with you because you've given them that information. How amazing is it once you've spoken to a doctor and you've had this pain for a long time and the doctor's like, no, don't worry, it's common. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some medicine. And then after that, you should be fine. Next time, don't drink too much soft drinks because your blood pressure goes high and that's the reason why you're getting sick. How amazing is that feeling when you finally know exactly what's wrong with you? You feel good, right? You feel amazing. And then you take that medication and then miraculously you feel better. And then guess what? Now when somebody's sick, when somebody's going through the exact same pain that you went through, for example, who are you going to recommend? You're going to recommend the doctor because they helped you. And that is ultimately the purpose of these value-based videos, is that when you are creating these value-based videos, you're giving tips, tricks, strategies. You're showcasing testimonial and client reviews. You're showcasing market updates in your area and predictions. You're showcasing local market reviews and things to do. You're answering burning questions that clients have on your industry, or you're uncovering false common beliefs in the industry with your content on your page. And guess what? The people who follow you, okay, and well as the people who find your content, once they see these things, that is what ultimately turns them from someone who's not sure into someone who's very sure and someone who's very happy to work with you. And once that happens, guess what? Now they like you. Now they trust you. Now remember, these people are people, right? They go to Bryce, they go to church, they go to work, they engage with other parents, they engage with their spouses. Guess what do you think they're going to speak about, right? If something is causing them pain for a long time and they found a solution, guess who do you think they're going to tell? They're going to tell their friends, their family. They're going to brag about who? You, because you had taught them something. And that is essentially how you become very famous in your area. It's not because you're now closing all these deals, because at the end of the day, closing deals is one thing. But the minute you start to add value in their life, where they have certain pain and things that are struggling for them, things that they're struggling for them to actually come to a conclusion with or for realization, that is where you become the go-to expert. That is when they ultimately trust you. And when they trust you, they start to refer you. And when they start to refer you, that is when you start to become very famous in your area. Because now you're no longer just an agent who's just there always essentially asking, right? You just want to take. These value videos, and the purpose of these value videos is you are giving. What am I doing right now? I am giving. Okay, I'm not asking for your business. I'm giving you everything that you need to know and do in order for you to succeed. And now I know for a lot of you guys, you've had a couple of aha moments because it's like, oh, now I get it. Just posting listings is not actually giving value. It's not actually answering any burning questions. Because what if a seller, for example, is trying to figure out why isn't my house selling? Them just seeing your listings on your page is not answering their question. But if you can help them uncover false common beliefs, like for example, here's the reason why you shouldn't do open mandate. Here's the reason why selling your house higher than expected is not going to sell. Here's the reason why your house isn't selling. Here's the reason X and X and X. When you then uncover these false common beliefs, because this is common knowledge for you guys. But remember, guys, not everyone is an agent. Not everyone studied in industry. Not everyone has experience. Not everyone studied for their PDE4. Okay, once you uncover this in your value videos, that is what ultimately helps you grow. That is literally it. It's not that difficult. Now, question you might be asking yourself, okay, so how do I then progress from here? Like, what exactly do I need to do? Look, you can do videos, you can do posts. It's really all dependent on you. You can utilize ChatGPT. There's a ton of tools as well that you can utilize where you can actually clone yourself from an AI perspective, and then it can create these videos. Although I would highly suggest creating these videos yourself and then posting that. That is one of the easiest ways to go about it. Now, in terms of posting frequency, if you can post these 3 to 5 times per day, not only are you going to alert the algorithm that you are actually adding value and you're answering burning questions, it's also going to find people who are most likely going to engage with your content. And that is ultimately going to help you get here. So in a nutshell, guys, as I said, okay, if you work out every day, if you eat good food, if you hydrate yourself, a good body is going to be a byproduct of that. Now, if you have your own page, right, on any of these platforms, and if you're constantly posting these value videos where your core purpose is to give value, help and educate people, burning questions that they potentially have, you're going to be turning a lot of people who are not informed to become informed, and those who are lost and confused to now have the right information. And then guess what? You're automatically going to become famous in your area as a byproduct because you are the only agent compared to everyone else who's just constantly just posting listings, who's giving information that people want to see. Okay, that is exactly how it works. Now, if you want to essentially get a free game plan session with me where I can break down exactly what you need to do, as well as uncover exactly what could be one of the reasons why maybe you're not growing, WhatsApp me at 0686268154, and then we can take it from there.